This is going to be a whole new type of nonsense. That is my old boat, a 1995 Scout Sportfish 16.2. It was a used boat, and that meant I bought somebody else's problems, and one of those problems was a poor patch job on the bottom that left me stranded last July, and now we've got to flip it over to fix it correctly. Helping me do that is my buddy Bill, and between the two of us, we've done a lot of projects together. This is one we've never tackled, so I wanted to have somebody to help me as we got this thing flipped upside down. We took the motor off, took all of the heavy stuff out, drained all of the fluids, leaving us with a hull that weighed approximately 770 pounds, and that was from the Scout website. And to do the work, that is a Harbor Freight, love that place, gantry crane. It's the 1-ton version. All of the accessories are rated to at least 1 ton or even more. The straps, for instance, were rated at 3,000 pounds apiece. They were a little long, so we had to take out some of the slack here, and by taking out the slack, it meant that we either had to loop them over or we used the soft locks. And in this case, we decided to loop them against each other and use the soft locks, which actually took out a lot of the slack, but it created tension between the two lines. And so instead of them staying closer to the stern and the bow, the tension was pulling them closer together. So the bow was lifting before the stern, and it was creating some off-weight issues. To fix that, we pulled the rear line toward the stern of the boat, and we used some cinch straps, kind of like as come-alongs, in order to do that. The first attempt, we were going to kind of go along in a straight line around the hull, but we were afraid that it would either do some damage to the gel coat or fiberglass, so instead we went underneath the boat, and since we got to do the work on the bottom side anyway, if there was any extra marrings, it would just be something that we would be sanding out, and we almost had it. We had to move the strap back by about another 3 to 4 inches, and you'll see here as we tighten down that rear strap with those secure ratchet straps that it actually lifts the back of the boat up by about 3 inches. So here we know that we're back, no pun intended, on an even keel, or maybe a little bit of a pun. But watch as we start to rotate it now, the back and the front are lifting nice and easy. The next obstacle was ground clearance, and to help us with that, and it's tough to see, but we have 2 cinch straps that are on the bottom of the gantry support, and they are overlooped and then brought up to kind of spring pressure, so that's acting as a trampoline underneath the boat in addition to the 4 truck tires that we have. Here's where we started to realize the clearance, especially with the swim platform on the back and the rub rail, was going to be an issue. So we put some plywood down, and we still weren't confident that it was going to clear without even rubbing the plywood, and I really didn't want to put pressure on where the clamshell comes together, the hull and the bottom of the boat and the top of the boat. So what we did, we tried a jack, didn't want to do any damage to the gel coat or fiberglass, so it just came down to lift with your legs, and it took us a couple of tries, but we got the back end up, and once we had that, then we had a pivot point that we could use the rubber of the tires. And what I did here is I debeaded the tires all the way around, leaving the rim on the inside, so that acts as support and the rubber acts as a cushion. All of this worked out great. You can see from the bottom of the boat there's no marring on it, so aside from just a little scuffing from the rubber itself, that'll come off with a magic eraser. So here we're at that critical point. Once it starts to go over, because the hoist is on the gantry and it's on rails, we were afraid that the weight would just allow the momentum to push it all the way down, and we wouldn't be able to release the pressure on our terms. Instead, it would kind of do its own thing. So we used the ratchet straps again. So this makes 4 now that we've used, 6 including the ones on the bottom. And we used them as a come-along to allow us to walk that angle. So here we have about 10, maybe 15 degrees to go to get to 90, and you'll see that we slowly start to walk it over. Here we're securing a couple of extra lines to keep tension on everything so that it would not go slack once it got just above it. Once we got the hoist above it and we realized that we could control the slack, at this point we knew that gravity could work for us, but we had to lock the hoist into position. So we eased it over just a little bit more, coming up to about that 90-degree point. And here, grab the ladder once again and put another cinch strap on the top of the hoist so that it cannot move left or right from where it is. That's our center point, and from there, we can start to let it down. But we've got to take that gut check once we get it set and give it the little shove to make sure that everything that we've pontificated about was going to hold true. The whole process maybe took about an hour of actual work time and then another half hour or 45 minutes of pontificating and problem solving. But here it comes. We got tension on the line, release the lower lines, give it a little push, and that's it. Gravity is now doing its job. The straps are doing theirs. And once we cleared everything out of the way, we actually had a moment where we could take a couple of pictures, send it to those that were worried about us, and then we could start letting the boat down inch by inch. And every time we did so, we'd maneuver the tires so that they were staying in the strong parts of the hull. We weren't putting any extra stress on everything around the fiberglass there, keeping it off of the cleats and bringing it all the way down. And the reason I was able to take it all the way down like that is I removed the center console and everything, more of the weight reduction there so that we could get to the hull of the boat. That is going to be fun. The next project will be doing some sanding and exploring the crack on the bottom to see just how much work needs to be done. If this is the type of nonsense that you would like to see and you want to continue along on this journey, by all means, let me know. And we'll have some fun doing some fiberglass, some foam, and getting that boat back in the water. Thanks for watching.